got to serve in MARCOS. We were actually 24 of us who volunteered for it, and only 4 of us were selected. So you can imagine the kind of training which happens and high attrition which takes place for Marine commandos. You got to survive in water, underwater, on land, as well as in air. So I was deployed for counterinsurgency operations in Jammu and Kashmir. You would wonder why the Navy is there when the Army is taking care. Yes, Army does take care of the whole thing, but there's a lot of water, ruck area in the valley. So that's the place where the Navy's role comes into play, the commandos, because it was observed that these terrorists and anti-national personnel would escape from water. So we were deployed there, and then we were in Gandarbal area, and we lay down a cordon and search, and we didn't really get anything. Then we laid down an ambush. We had intelligence that terrorists do cross this way, but there had been no success for a long time because of some villagers, siding with them and giving them the information. So it was August 1997 on a cold night. Today Mumbai is pretty cold, and my wife said in the morning that welcome to Shimla. In the valley you can understand how cold it is. Your weapon gets very cold, the metal part, and if you touch that metal, your finger gets stuck to it. It doesn't come out like you experience in a frost in a refrigerator. So with such kind of environment, total hostile environment, you are in a territory where the locals are not with you, the environment is hostile, the weather is hostile, and of course we have an enemy cut out whom we have to find. And finding that enemy is, like they say, finding a needle in a haystack. In fact, finding a terrorist in the valley is like finding a needle in a haystack blindfolded, because we are so conscious of not ensuring that no locals get affected. So it's really of that degree of difficulty that we have to be sure it's a terrorist. So it was a late night, and we had laid an ambush, and we are observing. We were with 15 RR, not 15 RR, but with 17 Bihar. With their troops, we are operating, and we did notice in a night vision goggles that there is some movement. And then we took position, and then we challenged them, and we opened fire. And it went on for a long time. We went around, laid a cordon, and at the end of it, at around 4 in the morning, we realized that after a lot of gunfire from both the sides and everything, we didn't get anyone. And we were really demoralized that we had such a close encounter and we missed it. And we were really we returned to our units, and we were very much down. So we decided, let's go back again. And we did that. In the next night, we were again there, and just hoping that something happens, miracle happens. And this time we were more well-versed with the terrain and other things. And this time again, we did manage to see our 2 guys on the night vision, and this time we didn't give them a chance. We fired at them. We fired. With me was then Lieutenant Commander Tilak Raj Thakur. So he was leading one team, one Prahar, and I was leading the other one. I was Lieutenant Commander at that time, Lieutenant actually. And we had gunfire. Luckily, on our side, we had no casualty. And after the firing subsided, we saw there seems to be some dead body, but we couldn't make out. And we then put a torch and tried to look for it, and we saw a dead body there, but it was not dead. This guy turned around and opened fire at us. But we are lucky; his bullets didn't find us, although it did find the muzzle of one of the AK-47 rifles. But we all safe, and then with grenades and everything, we bombarded him, and he tried to escape, and after an operation of over 8 hours, we got him alive in the morning around 4:30, and of course he was on the verge of dying. He was a Hizbul area commander, in which my team and we all got this guy, and ensured at least there is one less enemy, and a lesson for the villagers there that don't try and go this path. This is going to be the end of it. That was one of it in the valley. While in MARCOS, there are many.
Abhishek, one question.
Sir.
When you are into such operations, how do you catch them live? Because if you go nearby, you are not very sure whether he is still equipped with arms or not. So how did you catch him live? Can you tell us?
Okay, sir. So like it happened on the first night, it happened on the second night. We saw this guy this time injured, lying down and then escaping, and then this guy disappeared. You know, you can imagine the scene where it is fully dark. There are no street lights or there is nothing, and there is heavy vegetation. So once this happened with Commander Tilakraj Thakur's team, this encounter, and then they were in a house. So there was a danger of, because their position was known. Now the enemy could act on them. So I closed in and then, cleared the area, and then we couldn't find this guy. So we went to a nearby, we saw blood trail there. Blood trail was there. You could see somebody dragging himself away. And then we went, there was a heavy dense vegetation there. So we went and cordoned it in the night because we couldn't find him. And we're just hoping like hell that this guy has not been able to escape. So that's why I said throughout the night, we cordoned that area, kept a watch, kept on looking, and there was no trace of him. Morning around 5 o'clock with the first light, we were, replenished by army. We got sniffer dogs because we thought he's gone away. And when the sniffer dogs started, and the area which we had cordoned, there was a stream flowing. So the dog jumped and the strainer jumped, and they went inside. And within the next 30 seconds, they jumped out. They said the terrorist is inside. And then we again fired at him and threw so many grenades and all that. But, I told you it's a ruck area. Water is there and pools and things like that. This guy didn't die. Ultimately, we got him alive. That's how it happened. But yes, he was still firing at us, and then we cajoled him into surrendering. Also, he had bled the whole night. Our grenades had torn off his shoulder, his knee, so he couldn't escape. So we are lucky to get this guy alive because we could get a lot of int information from him.
Thank you, Abhishek. Very nicely explained. I just have one more doubt. When you did training with Navy SEALs in States, how did you find? Are we better than them?
Well, Navy SEALs is a very, very well trained and very well equipped, force, and they're very well backed up. Like once it came to India, there was one plane half filled with the slurry water came for them. I mean the mineral water. So that's the kind of facilities and money is put behind them. Once we started training with them, I must say that they stick to the rules. They follow rules till the hilt. Whatever is laid down in the SOP, whatever is there, they follow it very thoroughly. And they don't do any shortcuts, which we have a tendency to probably improvise or take shortcuts. But on the other hand, what we noticed that the intelligence levels of the SEALs compared to our MARCOS, sailors and officers both, we were much, much, much superior than. So our people were more aware, they were more innovative, and they could do things even in less resources. But the US Navy SEALs, they followed the procedure, which I feel it's a very big plus point because we, in terms of trying to improvise or take a shortcut, sometimes we go wrong. But it depends on the need of the hour. So I would say that the US Navy SEALs is a very professional force, and so is MARCOS. Both have different strengths. One is that they are very well backed and very disciplined in terms of following SOPs. Our people are very intelligent. They can make do with much lesser resources, and of course the spirit and the national spirit is phenomenal.